What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. It's Tuesday, which of course means patch day for Rugby 25. As we do with all these patches and stuff, we'll do some timestamps and all that good stuff down in the description and along the timeline if there's a particular area you want to jump to. This week's going to be another one of those where we've got no patch notes. It is later than it has ever been for one of these updates, and there is no patch notes. This patch came out this morning, ages ago. I've been seeing on the Discord, people have already been playing it. We've got nothing to work off, so if the patch notes come out mid-video, I'll grab them, but I'm not going to be around later than this. I need to film now so I can get a video out today. So we'll jump in and we'll get a bit of a feel for what's been going on. Now, we've been playing the game over the weekend, and on Saturday there was another one of those elusive behind-the-scenes little hotfixes that came in. Both on the Xbox and the PC, I saw little extra updates, not put anywhere on the online space for it. So I was like, "Oh, what's been going on here?" Played the game last night and had fun. Whoa, what's Mad Dragon on about? Genuinely, some challenging gameplay. AI scored some tries. I was actually struggling. I was having a bit of a laugh with it and thought, hang on, something's changed in here. Whatever this hotfix is has actually fixed some stuff. Now, I was playing, like I said, a few games last night. Some games were still a walkover. Some games weren't. I played one game that was the Scotland women versus the Australian women. And Australian women were almost to an unbelievable level. They were having 4-5 offloads per phase. Tackling was a nightmare. I could barely shut them down. We still had a couple of issues with invincibility players and stuff that just sort of ran through and scored tries. A couple of times the AI threw beautiful flat passes, hitting a complete gap in my defensive line and ran 50 metres for a try. And they were catching me out. And I thought, my God, has something happened here that means I'm going to not be able to have a video doing this? Now, we don't know what the update today is. May well have broken everything. We have no idea, but we're going to jump in and test it out today. I've got to say, I enjoyed playing with Australia yesterday. So, you know what? I thought today, let's jump in and do an Australia versus someone. New Zealand, let's do a Bledisloe Cup. Why not? Let's do New Zealand versus Australia. I'm going to keep it on hardest because I had a lot of fun with it actually yesterday, and I'm just going to hope, please, don't have broken anything in whatever this new update has brought. We'll chuck it on a different stadium because, again, I was having a look at some of these different stadiums, and the atmosphere seemed a little bit better. The crowd's making a bit more chant. There was a bit more sort of anthem singing in the background as well. Let's chuck it on there. I'll keep the weather and all that stuff on. Let's just change the ball. Let's do a... We do like a World Cup ball. Who knows? Let's make some slight differences there. And we'll chuck it onto a game. Like I said, no patch notes, so we're going into it kind of blind. We're just going to go over what happens in the game. Any changes we think that happened from last week. There were fixes from last week. The handling felt better. Players were catching the ball, which was a complaint I had on Thursday. Passes felt better. Nothing bouncing into touch. There was new lineouts, or a new quick throw-in lineout. It did have a bit of an issue that my players kept throwing it forwards and it was given an offside penalty, but a totally new sort of animation for a self-throw-in, which is something I haven't seen before in this game. And I was like, there's some changes going on here that felt like a really nice positive step, and I want to get it on camera, and I'm just hoping whatever the update today was hasn't broken everything. In which case, we can showcase some hopefully kind of fun gameplay, and hopefully the AI can actually break through the line, actually score a try. I know we can have some fun with it, but I've got some mental notes and stuff that was going on last week, and I thought let's jump in, and we don't really care about all the cinematics and stuff. Let's get into this one and play a game and see if it still feels that way that it was doing for me last night, and hopefully it has. Lola CO, get us kicked off and underway. I'm going to keep playing on side camera. There was, okay, they just outright grabbed that mid-air. Nothing I could do about that. Oh, you actually got a turnover. Now, I also noticed a few more of the and a nice interception there by Australia. Now, I noticed a few more of the turnovers as well, where they're not doing the skittle knockover counter-ruck. And they're also not just receiving the ball, but more, there was like a mini, okay, another handoff from them there. Nice little offload, pop pass through there. Where I was doing like a mini little turnover. And actually, it looked like, oh, I've clearly been able to win the ball in that ruck and get it back. There seems to be a new animation in there as well. The AI is spamming handoff for days. The AI women were an absolute nightmare to shut down, which is why I've chosen the Australian men, because the Australian women were an absolute nightmare. As they go through, already can just about get a hand on it. Playing on hardest today. because I'm hoping it's going to feel exactly the same. They go out wide this time. Mark Talea still can't get around. And Andrew Callaway goes over. What's going on? This is great. I'm glad to be seeing it. I mean, it's still that same telegraphed scripted passing going out there. There is still an issue, which I have flagged and I've tried to send over to the guys at A Big End Studio. Something I've noticed specifically on the side camera. Let me see if it's going to happen this time, now that I'm going to try and get it on camera to showcase. Let me go over here. Something I've noticed when playing out wide, when the AI does the script, you'll be able to see that Mark Talea here, who I was clearly trying to be, running, they always seem to run towards where the ruck was being played from. So as the ball was coming out, I feel like we've got this marked, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 if you include my inside centre there, going up against 1, 2, maybe 3 if you go for the fullback. They're going to run a loop. 4. I have the man overlap here. They throw a pass out the back, and all of my guys have started running into the line. And you can see here, you know, Severis has come in, my tight end props come in, Mark Talea also running in. They're all running towards where the ruck was, even though the AI clearly has to go out wide. And as the ball comes out wide, Mark Talea has suddenly lost that huge advantage that he had from being out on that wing because he's tracked all the way in. I eventually have now become Mark Talea. It's taken that amount of time for me to be able to transfer to swap players out here. And by the time I get there, I literally cannot get my player to have the turning circle in order to get round in time before they've already got through. That's an issue I've noticed with playing on side camera. On end-on camera, your players seem to hold their position better defensively, and you actually can sort of inline those tackles a bit more. I've noticed it since Saturday's Hotfix that a lot of the time, switching out to my player, I either can't make that turn quick enough, or my players open the door for the AI to sort of cut back inside, and it's like the AI knows which way I'm going to be running, and they sort of run around you one way or another, which, okay, like that, they got to try there. It felt like there was nothing I could really do about it, because they sort of just able to get around me, and I can't physically get my player to engage. But they've been able to get over for a try. That is something we haven't been able to say in, what, 5 patches? I don't even know. It's been a lot of patches, but I'm glad to be seeing that they're going to be able to do that, even if it feels like a little bit like cheating like now. Hopefully we're going to see them do a bit more of a flatter pass like I saw them do yesterday. That's a decent little clearance kick. Fullback catching the ball. Great to be able to see. Let's go for a 50-22 ourselves so we can get this one over. In fact, we've actually got Severis potentially on the end. The fatigue thing, still a bit of an issue. Severis, they're absolutely gassed out and was beaten back to that by a prop. So I would still like to see that fatigue issue going in. Again, don't know if anyone noticed the issue that came in there. This is kind of what... It's really hard to describe what I'm talking about on the side camera. I'm clearly playing from right to left. On my controller, I am literally pressing it this way. I'm only ever pressing it that way. I'm very rarely ever going to do like a diagonal running line. It's not really how I like to play. But you can quite clearly see here, as they pass the ball out, it gets into the arms here of the player. You can see I swap here to Barrett. I think it's Barrett number 4. I think it should be Scott Barrett, right? Yes, it is. So it goes out here. I've coming in, got my man marked, absolutely fine. All I'm doing is holding directly left, which should mean from a side camera, a straight line. I'm holding left, I'm running diagonal. Don't know why I'm running diagonal. And then I miss the tackle. And therefore the AI runs through. And it's the same thing. It keeps happening across the board. I am not holding diagonal. I'm holding a straight line and they should run straight. Now, my only thing that I can guess with this is that I'm holding left, as you guys saw. I'm clearly holding left, which should mean straight from a sideline camera angle. If you notice, though, the diagonal distance that I run, for me, if this is now Scott Barrett running straight, 90 degrees to the left should mean he's going to run basically that direction. If we run it on, which way does he run? Let me try and keep it kind of straight. I've got the mess up with this camera. I think he's going to run about this way. Scott Barrett's going to run on. Runs that way. I think there's an issue at the minute with when swapping to a player on the side camera, the direction you push on the analog stick isn't being taken into account necessarily by the camera angle. It's being taken into consideration from which way the player is facing when you change to them. Then it goes wrong for a second, and then you can clearly see that he then straightens back up. It's like it gets registered a bit later on. I think there's an issue there, which I have sent over to the guys at Big House Studios, as we're going to see. An unbelievable break here. Is that Nick Frost? He can't be stopped. Running down the field. And it's things like that. That's the main reason why I'm having tries scored against me. It's just because of issues like that. And I'm having to sort of hold my own line a bit to try and stop my players doing that. Like I said, I haven't seen it from the end camera perspective, because it feels like you can really hold that line thing. So I think that's a camera issue for me. But it is allowing the AI to get around me, which at this point, we've had a long time now where we're winning games to 0, kind of effortlessly. You know what? At least there's a way now for the AI to score tries, even if it's not completely fair. That one was entirely my fault because they brought held up back. That's interesting. I think that's the first held up try as well I've seen since they did the update where they can now place the ball. I also had on the weekend one where my player was tackled right at the dead ball line, and rather than placing the ball above their head and forwards, which would have put the ball dead, they actually placed it sort of backwards and down, so it was still in field and got counted as a try. I think that's the first one I've seen as a held up since that update as well. I think little things are getting fixed in here, which is nice to see. That was a good catch by them, of course. We've had a few issues with catching. Now, if you didn't notice, in order for Australia to get over the try line that time as well, I also ran the wrong way. That one was me, and I can say it was me. The reason that one was me is because I swapped player, and it didn't give me the thing. It's just done it again. There's a player here that I would clearly want to be. So, it's so hard to sort of describe, and I'm trying to show, because I know exactly the feeling of what I've got going on. They play the ball out here, get the ball out wide, bang. Now, I wanted to be Mighty Williams here. Mighty Williams has got my boys lined up. It's 2-on-1, you're going to have to read that tackle. Where's that ball going to go? I've swapped to Mighty Williams here, but as I do the swap, Mighty Williams, busy, runs this way. He's moving inside, which now means I need to be, I think Ardi Sarve is the 7 at the minute for New Zealand. Yes, he is. Which means I needed to have swapped to Ardi Sarve, but the game didn't give him to me. It gave me to Mighty Williams, which was correct, but he's run away from his man. And for some reason, Ardi Sarve doesn't get in and make that tackle. So it's not quite giving me the players I want to be, and it is allowing the AI through. It's making the AI feel a bit more interesting. But there is issues with the sort of target. They've done it again. They cut back on the inside so much, and it's causing me a lot of issues. But I'm enjoying it. At least there's something going on. The handoffs are still a bit over the top. Still struggling to engage in being able to deal with these. Let me shut him down. Oh. Second guy didn't get a tackle there. Press B about 3 times, didn't quite get a tackle. The James Slipper runs over. But they're scoring. You know what? I'm glad to be seeing the AI scoring. It's not quite as clean as I want it to be. There's more issues now with the way the players are being selected and the way the players are running. But, they've scored tries. Right. We've got to score some tries. Let's put some points back on the board, right? We want to test because the AI defense on the flip side has also felt better, which again, glad about to be seeing that again. Hardest difficulty, I know a few people don't play the game on hardest difficulty. I'm not really sure what it's like if you still played on like medium or something. It might be still a bit of a breeze to be able to get through. But on hardest, there seems to be a step up. Australia, men's and women's, I guess, seem to have been given a bit of a nod here for being a bit more difficult to get on board with. They also just steal my lineouts as well. Really struggling to get a foothold in this game. Lineouts are going their way. Rucks are going their way. Handoffs going their way for days. Every carry is now a handoff from the AI. It is literally like playing online. Oh, that's the first handling error I think I've seen just go completely wrong. They threw that one to ground. Right, let's try and put some phases together here, boys. We've been struggling as they get off the line. Absolutely rapid now. Let's go for our own handoff as the AI wants to do that game. Hold on. Was that an actual knock-on? Oh. There was an actual knock-on given, and I was like, have they added something new in here? Hang on. Let me slow this one down. Mark Talair went in. Tackle came in from Callaway. All looks decent. Goes to ground. He's still got the ball, still got the ball, still got the ball. Went in for the jackal. Oh, there was no knock-on. They just made it up. I thought there was a knock-on game, and that's a shame. I would have been like, whoa, have they actually added knock-ons into this game now? Nope. But there is a knock-on, like, foul. The foul is in. It's just not registered correctly, which is interesting. And for some reason, I got given the scrum from there. I'm not sure where they've judged That to be what it is, but let's go on a bit of a charge. Let's see if we can get some scores in here, because the AI clearly wants to actually play a game now. We go for a little snipe up the inside there with Mark Delay. They've still got those good guards around the ruck. Still feel like I'm very bunched. I know it's hard to see, my face is in the way, but I still feel like my guys are very, very bunched. They've got a really nice defensive line on the go at the minute, and it gives them a real, advantage. And it, again, all my guys are a ball. Where am I meant to go from here? I've got to go right, because it's the only place I have any players, but they really are punishing me, but not because, like, their defense is brilliant. It's more that I can't really do anything given what they've got going on. Let's see if we can get Mark Delaire on the outside there of all. Rob Valentini, they went for a late tackle. Cut back inside. Not the guy I wanted to go to. I was clearly trying to go for my support runner right on the inside. That didn't work for me. Let's try and go right. Still very, very deep. We'll make a bit of a break here with Mighty Williams, the big boy. Surge is over for a try. It's a decent little run going in there. Still very, very deep. The support runners still feel like they aren't really where you would want them on the attack line, whereas the AI support runners feel very in line. Actually, there's been some really nice offloads from them where they get that one little pop pass after the tackle and just put you under some pressure. Let's go for another little slot through and take that out. So we're down by 7. We're down by 7 at half-time. I feel like I haven't said that in a long, long time in one of these videos. On to the second half then. Let's see if we can get this game back for New Zealand. I haven't messed about with the subs. Oh, people were saying as well that I didn't even notice in last week's video that the women's substitutions apparently were wrong. Last week that you only had like 5 players to choose from on the bench. And so you couldn't actually have a full set of replacements on. I have seen since then that they did fix that. They fixed that in the Saturday patch. Teams I was playing with had the full 23, so you could actually get all your subs on and stuff. It was one of the issues we had back when, like, the men's teams were first sort of introduced. Look at swatting me aside. No issues for Australia at the minute. They'll go deep and then they'll sort of run wide. Let's shut that one down. Would still like to see a few different passing options. From it is still so scripted that you can really sort of run those lines. Is that another Invincible player there? Oh, I've run out of gas. There is a weird thing with this fatigue. This really needs to be worked on. I think the fatigue system they added in, I actually feels almost kind of worse. So, got the handoff there. I mean, Mighty Williams there has to make that tackle. Then also literally runs through Bowden Barrett. Then runs. Then I've got Sevu Reece and Bowden Barrett chasing this one down. And like, neither of them can get there. Why can my guys not chase down Bengo Amosa? He's a hooker. Hookers have got some decent pace on them in the modern game, but Sevu Reece, that's where my money's on. Maybe he's not making the tackle. Maybe he's going to fall off the tackle. Maybe you have to go for the tap tackle. But in just an all-out foot race, I know where my money's going. To be able to win that one. We've got a game to win. We're down now by quite a bit. But this was the sort of experience I was having. This hasn't been quite as good as what I had with the Scotland Australia game, where it was absolutely mental. The issues are more like there's sort of like that Invincible player tackle. That's why they scored a try. Being able to get round the outside because my player's cutting in. That's why they're scoring tries. It's not necessarily like you're getting like outplayed, which I think is where we want to be with this game. We would like to be at a stage where it really feels like the AI has been able to find its way around us and actually really put us under pressure. Maybe different teams play with a slightly different, style, which would also be, nice to see, a bit more in line with what actually happens in rugby union. Let's go for a little grubber kick here. Oh, there was a very late tackle, but Mighty Williams on the end of it. Oh, someone was also putting in the forum earlier on about that they were like, if only there was a way to dive on a ball. You can dive on the ball. It's just pressing, the X button on the Xbox controller. Just press X. You will jump on it. You can also press B to, keep kicking it along the ground, but it's not the greatest option in the world. My guy tackleable here. Held up again. I could have put that down at any point. I've also got no ref's whistle, which is also a bit weird. You could quite clearly see that number 12 was on me the whole time, which is why I ran it infield. I wanted to know whether I was invincible or not then. I could have just put that one down. Probably should have, in terms of the scoreline. But they didn't tackle me, then they tackled me again. That's now the second held at one that we've had. I hope we haven't had a backward step with the placing the ball. It has felt quite extreme with the either all work or none of them work. Let me just go for a little kick over the top. Oh, I thought I was in my half. That one's my bad. I thought I was going to go for a 50-22 and really put that one down the touchline. Still holding deep, still not getting out wide. You know, where is my width on the game in order to actually be able to attack out wide? There we go. That's a nice little break here. Will Jordan should have the pace to be able to outrun basically everyone on this field. Good collection by Will Jordan as well on the bounce. That's a decent little try. That one felt a bit smoother. Felt we got a grubber kick on. Didn't get tackled just after the grubber kick just for the sake of it. Was able to chase it down. And even collected it off the bounce, which is something we haven't really seen. You know, across this sort of, since launch, there's been a lot of issues being able to pick up the balls. That was better. Right, let's lock that one over again. That'll bring us back into the game. 7 points down, 20 minutes left on the board. Will Jordan's happy with it. But it's feeling a bit better. It's feeling a little bit more like, you know, it's still not quite there. It's still not what you want it to be. I've still been checking the updates, by the way. There is still nothing that's come out at the time of filming this to say that we know what the actual patch notes are. But, yeah, I do feel like it's slowly beginning to feel better. Get an offload away. One more. Oh, I managed to break through that tackle as well. I should have kept that one going. Let's just keep going right for the second here because I've actually got someone on the inside of me. Little offload. There we go. That's nice. Out to Cody Taylor. Let's go for a little step back inside. Oh, it doesn't work. They're not going to let me get there. I have also messed around with the, you know, the defensive setup and your attacking setup. I'm not going to lie. I still feel like there's no difference in swapping this to, let's do a rush defense or trying to set up your forwards. I still see no difference in that. You know, that's something else that I feel would really help these games open up if you could set your team to be able to stand as wide as the AI. It's clearly in the game because the AI is so wide all the time and it's really nice. I just wish my guys could do the same. Let's get a little offload there to Seven Reese. Oh, I tried to go one more time. Clock's ticking away. Australia, no. Clock is on their side. That's a Nick Frost sitting my boy down. Just going to have to run into this one. Yep, Geordie Barrett, a little pop pass. There we go. Oh, they're still doing well. This is what I mean. The AI is actually feeling like, you know, they're on me a bit here. Like, I'm struggling to really get through. It doesn't help when my guys run lines that run straight back into the ruck as opposed to quite clearly trying to hold a bit of a wider line, which is what I'd be going for here. We'll try and hit that gap once again with Seven Reese. One more. Oh, we're up to the 5-meter channel. Crowd's getting a bit more into it now as well as Rico. So many dominant tackles by this Australia team. As wrapped up there is Scott Barrett. Anyone want to get out wide for me? Nope, we're going to have to go right again because nobody's stretching that left-hand wing at all. Let's go one more. Come on, Will Jordan. In for the second one. And placed down for a try. Right, hang on. It might be the case then that they've finally been able to find some sort of middle ground between placing the ball and held up. Still not entirely sure what makes the difference. What's changing it, you know, in the game's mind to be held up versus an ability to be put down as a try. Maybe if it's like if you tackle with the Y button compared to the B, that you have more chance of holding it up, but it's a riskier tackle. Not entirely sure, but we drawn it level. It's 21-all. Can we steal this game from the grips of defeat against the AI? And it's so nice to be able to, you know, have some games where the AI scores. It's still requiring hardest difficulty. It's still requiring a lot of the stuff they do to be kind of cheating. But you know what? We'll take it for now. Oh, it's Bowden Barrett making a break. He's got nobody defending him. There's nobody there. Well, that's going to be the easiest try you've ever seen for Bowden Barrett. Where was their fullback? Oh, that's a nice sign that we're looking at here. I'm not sure what happened there. 12, 14, 5. Oh, 15 is... Ah, right. So I'm going to guess Tom... Is Tom Wright the fullback still in this game? So got involved with that initial kickoff for the maul. And then there's nobody in this backfield covering all of this space. Yeah, I doubt a lot of teams are going to send your fullback hunting that one down with nobody in the recovery position for that. But we'll take an easy try. That's a bit of a soft one. You know, they had an invincible try. We deserve something back, maybe. But, you know, it looks like we can do that. Can we hold out? Can we get one more? Should we go for one more? Why not? You know what? I've had a bit more fun. I've had a bit more fun with this today. We've been able to get some tries. We've been able to do a bit of different things. Oh, Still a bit of an issue with my scrum half picking this up. I'm not touching the analog stick at any point during that, but my scrum half's still desperate to pick up the ball as soon as possible. Let's see if we've got the numbers to be able to go in. A little chip kick over the top. Whoa! What a catch! Is that Andrew Kellaway out on that wing? Great catch. I tried to go for a little chip chase. They were onto that instantly. They knew what we were doing. Well, maybe can Australia save this now then? From the grips of defeat. Anything coming in there? Again, didn't give me the player I would have definitely wanted there. Oh, we're probably going to get in and steal that one because nobody even committed to that one from their side. We've got numbers out wide. If we can go wide. One more. There we go. Bang! Is Mark Talea making a breakaway. Who's going to be able to get there? Little chip kick over the top. Can he catch it? He does. It's not great. I've been trying as well. I've been trying to do those chip kicks as well. They never really work out how I want them to. Something always goes a little bit wrong. But we'll try them in touch. Let me just have a quick look at what happened there. I felt like that was nice. I felt like we got a nice little chip kick on. Got over the player, but then for some reason he caught it and turned around and went the wrong way. I don't know why he did that. That would have been a nice little try if you got a little chip kick over the top. The up and under is still not really worth going for, apart from those chip kicks. But, you know, hey, that's that. Let's take it out then. Let's get into thoughts and feedback for this one, because we've still got no patch notes to be able to cross-reference them with, which is very weird at this point. Maybe they're just not going to put them out. But overall, now, it's going to be difficult because I played this on Saturday. That was the exact experience I had on Saturday. I'm not sure what this new update has brought, so I can't really say I noticed anything new or anything different in there. This is pretty much exactly the same as what I experienced on Saturday, but I would say that there's a couple of things that are better in there. The being able to catch the ball now off kicks, the fullback seems to catch the kicks better, the wingers catch the kicks better. You can catch your own chip kicks now, which is nice. We had that grubber kick with Will Jordan. He collected it to hand. It didn't require me to either choose dive on it or grubber kick it on. He actually picked it up and ran over for a nice score. The AI is doing some different stuff, which is nice to see. The AI is scoring tries. They are getting tries past me. It will seem to still require either a Invincible player, in which case there's nothing I can do about it. They're going to score a try no matter what. Or, like I said, there's this weird thing where the player choice for you, when you swap to the player, either sort of sends them the wrong way, or the tracking that they have sort of built in from the ruck moves them out the way, and you go from having a massive overlap to somehow you're down a man and they can sort of run out on the wing. And they've caught me off guard. There's not really a lot you can do about it, because even if you swap to that player and immediately turn where they're going to go, they still seem to be able to just run around the outside of you and score. So they're not necessarily beating you, they're not outplaying you, they're just doing things because they can and you can't really stop them. But it's made a few little bits of progress going through there. One new issue was the knock-on. Nice to see that the knock-on foul was given. No reason to give the knock-on foul. Nothing happened in order for a knock-on, but it's nice they're slowly trying to incorporate knock-ons into the game. I really do think they can land what we had in Thursday's video, where my player didn't catch the ball and it sort of bobbled out of her hands, but it wasn't that. It was like an animation of a knock-on. My player just didn't catch the ball, which was a shame. But if they can get knock-ons in the game, that would be something nice to be able to add in the game. A few more penalties as well, maybe, sort of ruck time, trying to cheat and do different stuff. I have noticed the ruck turnovers seem to have been a little bit better in the animation department. Playing on hardest then, didn't really have a lot of turnovers, but that's fine. You're playing on hardest against Australia, a high-rated team in this game, you shouldn't be getting a massive amount of turnovers. Defensively, the AI seemed better. Again, there's still a couple of issues like that. The fullback's not there. Why is he not there? He's in a maul from kickoff. That's not going to happen in Intas, where you should always really have your back three or somebody covering that position of the 10, sort of cycling round for it and being able to cover it. There's a couple of issues still there, but defensively, going through the phase play, it felt like actually the AI is holding me back. A few more dominant tackles now, which is nice to see for anyone who remembers at launch. It was like you always gain meter territories. The AI is still spamming your handoff. Overall, it feels like it's getting those little pieces together. It feels like it's building towards something good. Unfortunately, we've had no patch notes for this one, but I have to say, from playing this on the weekend and from playing that one, That's a more fun experience. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. I'm not, saying this. It's finally, where we wanted it to be. It's getting better. It is feeling a bit more challenging now. If you're playing it on the hardest difficulty with some higher rated teams and stuff, it feels like actually they could put a score on you. They can get some stuff past you. Didn't really have a lot of penalties to talk about on the whole. And they were able to sort of have a bit more of a balance now with the held up tries versus the place down. Still not 100% sure why one is one and one is the other. It's not like there's an animation where they clearly wrap up the player and stop him putting the ball down, which would be nice. That would be a nice step forward. So it's clearly held up. But I like that it can sort of be either or now. It's not all one or all the other, which is what a few of us had complaints about. But overall felt more positive. That's not a terrible state for it to be in for the start of this week from these updates, which sometimes cause all sorts of problems. Let me know your experience down in the comment section, guys, whether you've just, watching this video, what did you think about this sort of step for the game, or if you've played it yourself, any other things that didn't happen in that game for me that you got to experience that, just make it know. Make sure you get over to the FAQ page as well to let Big Ant know all of your thoughts and all that good stuff. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.